I've been getting a lot of questions on partnerships and freight brokerages. People that are interested in opening freight brokerages and having partners to do it. I think that is a great way to open a business. Of course, it has advantages and disadvantages. For today, what we're just going to focus on is the relationship that exists between the two partners and how important that is. If in fact you decide to go into a partnership, it is going to be extremely important to understand who your partner is, and he or she should understand who you are. There's a lot of talk that happens, prior to starting your business or in the early stages of business. You start about, talking about what you're gonna do, how are you gonna do it, and all of that is great. It's great to, to get your thoughts out there and to start talking about it. But of course, at some point, action has to take place. And things can kind of go in a lot of different directions, when it comes down to partnerships and your business. And what do I mean by that is when action time comes, there are going to be a lot of different responsibilities. You're going to have responsibilities and your partner is going to have responsibilities. And you and your partner are accountable to each other. You're accountable to your business to get the things done in order to get your business to the next level. Now, where the problem comes in at is when we don't understand who has what responsibilities. Because a lot of times you can have your head down, you're working on something and you and your partner aren't really communicating. You're just working on a lot of different things. Now, if you have a list of what it is that you're going to accomplish and a list of what your partner is going to accomplish, and those things are getting knocked out, and then you're coming back to the table discussing those things, that's great. Unfortunately, a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. What happens usually is one person starts to do a lot of the work and take on a lot of the responsibility and leaves the other person out, or the other person can't find their way in for whatever reason. And what you end up having is a partnership in name, but one person is the company. And that's not what you want. When you're building a business and you're building it together, it should be influenced by both people. That's the whole purpose of having a partnership, because there are things that my partner brings to the table that I don't bring to the table, and vice versa. So when we're doing it that way, that's great. But when that gets set aside and one mind gets to dominating everything, then you don't have a partnership, and you have to call it that. I think another thing that's very important when it comes down to partnership is knowing who your partner is and your partner knowing who you are. What do I mean by that? Very simple. I think one of the best ways to establish who I am, what my word is through my credit report. It tells you who I am in a sense. I'll explain that here in just a minute. I think it is very important for partners, before you go into partnership, to sit down and share a lot of different things, but in particular, credit reports. It's going to tell you something very important about your partner, and your report is going to tell your partner something very important about you. What that is how often do you do what you say you're going to do? How often do you honor your word? Because your credit report will tell you, do you do what you say you're going to do all of the time, some of the time, or never? Okay? That's basically what your credit report says. It says that this person honors his word. He has a commitment and he sticks to what he says he's going to do, regardless of what happens. There can be a lot of different things. There are, financial things happen, and, things at work may not go right. You may lose your job or whatever it may be. Yeah, all of that is understood. Those things happen. But at the same time, your credit report establishes your history over a long period of time, and it shows you who you are. It shows you better than somebody talking to you, in my opinion. Especially at the first part of it. It'll show you, okay, this is exactly who this person is. This person has a credit rating of 750, 760, and for most of the time throughout his life, he's done what he said he's going to do. If I can look at that and see that that person honors his word 80, 90% of the time, then that'll give you a look into who that person is going to be when it comes down to their word. Because your word is the foundation of your business. Your word is the foundation of your relationship. And if you cannot depend on my word, then our partnership doesn't get off of the ground. The word, your word, is going to make that partnership what it should be. because my partner knows that if I tell him something, if I say this is what I'm going to do, then come hell or high water, I'm going to do what I said that I would do. So it's important to establish that from the word go. Who are you? How often do you honor your word? Are you committed and dedicated to doing what you say you're going to do? If so, then that's a person that I would want to be in partnership with. If not, then I may have to take a further look at that, to really look at it and decide whether or not this would be beneficial to both parties moving forward. And if you've gotten into a partnership and you're not happy with that partnership, it doesn't produce what you think it should produce, it's just not measuring up. If that's the case, then you have a decision to make. And what I use is a strategy that I got from a guy named Brian Tracy. And it's called the Kwink method, K-W-I-N-K. Knowing what I know now, if I had it to do all over again, would I make this same decision? If the answer is no, you cut your losses immediately. Because if you don't, it's just prolonging the agony. That's just the bottom line, because more than likely it's not going to get better. It's just going to continue to run off track, run off course. So cut your losses immediately and move forward. Now that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with that person. That doesn't mean that you and that person can't continue to be friends, because friends and business is two different things. Can they mix? I definitely think they can. There are different examples of people that have done it. But at the same time, you don't make a decision because a person is your friend. Your decision should be based on the actual facts. And when we don't base it on that, sometimes we can get ourselves into trouble. So make decisions based on the facts. And if the answer is yes, then of course you've made the right decision. You've made a decision that you feel is good for you, your partnership, and your business. So put everything into making it work at that time. Because partnerships are kind of like marriages. When they work, they're great. But when they don't work, they can be disastrous. So we want to put the energy and effort into making it work. If you know you have a good partner, that partner is not going to be just like you. We can't have the expectation that they're going to be just like us, or they're going to do things in a way that we would do it. That's the purpose of having a partnership. Different partners bring different things to the table. So welcome that energy. Welcome, your partner having different ideas than you, because that's how you're going to take your business to higher and higher levels, if you decide on a partnership. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions in reference to Freight Broker Opportunity, Alliance Logistics Training Program, we've left a link in the description box below. Click on that link. It will give you a registration where you'll be able to go and watch a webinar that's an in-depth look into the Freight Broker Opportunity and our training program. Tells you how it can benefit you. What exactly is in it? That way you'll make an informed decision rather than a not so informed decision when it comes to choosing a freight broker training provider. So with that said, see you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.